Hey folks, welcome to part 2 of the hot, fast, and very good compost, very healthy for building your soil compost pile, biologically complete. So this video today is all about turning the pile. So this pile is, once it's built, we wait for it to get up to temperature. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then we're going to turn it one time. We're going to turn it a second time a little bit later. And then it just has to finish from there. No more turning. So this is a build once, turn twice pile if all goes well. So I got a few notes here. Let's make sure that I cover everything. So technically, we want the pile, the term Dr. Lane uses is it needs to be hot enough, long enough. So my pile got hot enough, I believe. I'll show you the spreadsheet at the end. It took a couple days really to get about the compost thermometer. Mine is just, it's an 18-inch one. Yeah, that's hot on the end. I know Dr. Lane talks about using 3-foot, 4-foot thermometers. I went the cheaper route, got an 18-inch one. It pretty much, with a 44-inch pile, I'm getting very close to the middle, and it's giving me a good enough temperature reading. This one, I don't know if you can see that, Tell True from Rochester, New York. I like it when I can buy things that are USA made. So 3 thresholds in determining hot enough, long enough. The first one, we'll start at the bottom. You got to get above 130, and if you can get there and you stay in that range, then hot enough, long enough is 3 days above 130. If you hit the next threshold above 150, then you're looking at 2 days. You need to be 2 days above 150, and then you're ready to turn. Final threshold 165. That's pretty hot. I never reached that. That's only 24 hours, just 1 day at that temperature level, and then you can turn. Technically, I reached my 150 at 2 days threshold at about 5 p.m. yesterday afternoon. I decided to wait till this morning. I don't think that's going to harm anything. So here I am with the cage reassembled, 4 bungee cords. I've overlapped the hardware cloth a little bit more this time. We probably lost, through settling, close to 6 inches on the height of it. So I know Jeff Lawton talks about your pile really shouldn't lose any volume when he talks about his hot compost making system, but I just, that hasn't been my experience. With things breaking down, you tend to lose a little bit of volume, and Dr. Lane agrees with that. So in her videos too, she as she turns the pile, she makes the next cage a little bit smaller. So we were about 44 inches wide. Now we're about 39 inches wide, which is good because this pallet is only about 40 inches wide. So it fits on one pallet rather than having to use 2. This pallet had fairly tight spacing. You can't see it anymore. I'm still, I feel like compost is precious. I don't want to lose anything between the cracks. So I'm still going with landscape fabric on the bottom so that I don't lose any falling through the cracks of the pallet. Well, let's talk about first why do we turn? So it gets hot in the middle, right? We've got that cylinder. So let me I got a prop here for you. Here's our cylinder, probably a little bit longer than it should be. It's not really to scale. So we've got this center cylinder, and it's hot in the middle, but it's not hot on the edges. So picture this baseball as the hot middle. Probably could be a little bit bigger, but we're gonna think of this pile with the hot middle, and we're gonna think about it in 3 parts. You got the top, the hot middle, and the bottom. So what we're going to do when we turn is we're going to carefully take off the top, I mean, and we're going to put it on a tarp. So we're going to take off, try to picture this, maybe about 6 to 8 inches around the sides and maybe about 10, 12 inches off the top. And that's the top. It's gonna go on a top. All right, so might be difficult to see, but I've tried to take a little bit off the sides, some off the top, left this hot middle. Feel this, it's cooling down now, but if I reach in, I can really feel the heat in there. You can even maybe see a little bit of steam coming out. So now I'm going to move on to the next part. Forking this middle out, scooping this middle out. See that action? Scooping the middle out, and that's going to go on the bottom of the other cage. Take the middle, we're going to take this baseball stuff. This is the stuff that cooked at the high temp. That's going to then go, we're going to move that over to the bottom. So we're going to reassemble on a different pallet. That's going to go on the bottom of the new pile that we're building. Then what we've got on the tarp, which was the top, that's going to go into the middle. So that'll have a turn, getting cooked nice and hot. And then the bottom will go on the top. Middle is scooped out. It's been moved over into the new pile, the new cage. Middle went to the bottom, right? And then now the top is going to go into the middle. Then that bottom will go on top. And then the next time we turn, we do the same rotation. That way each section, each third of this pile had a chance to pass through that hot middle. And what we're looking to do with that, in that hot middle, is kill all the bad stuff, kill any pathogens. They tend to be the microorganisms, the bacteria, and maybe even some fungi that they don't like the hot temperatures. Whereas the good guys, yeah, they can get killed too, but they have ways of going dormant and being able to wake up later. So we want everything to pass through that hot middle, including weed seeds and even whatever we had in our compost. I got a bunch of pumpkin seeds in there. Those high temperatures in the 150s, we're going to kill all the seeds, so we've got good compost, and we're not going to be sprouting anything that we don't want to be sprouting. What else? Let's talk a little bit about water. We're going to do that squeeze test again. We're going to grab a fist of that compost and test the water. Most likely we're going to have to add water. you can say for sure we're going to have to add some water. While I'm here, maybe I'll do a squeeze test. And I would say I'm not getting any moisture. It's kind of sticking together. It's probably around 40% or so, so we're definitely going to be adding water to this pile. That's in the middle. I'll check the top and the bottom too, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be adding water to all 3 parts of this pile. I'm going to add a little water. Remember, I thought maybe we were at about 40% moisture. I'm just going to take a guess here. It's going to be hard to reach down there and sample this, but especially at the bottom. I'm going to say, you know, around a gallon or so is going to be enough moisture to get this thing back up to 50%. I don't know. I may consider adding some liquid fish to my water if I feel like I got to get the party started again. Temps are still fairly cold here, so I don't know if I mentioned it. We're in the 50s today, so not too bad. Going to get up into the high 50s, but still getting fairly cold at night. So I might, just to try to get those temps back up. Once this pile's all reassembled, everything's going to cool down. And then you need it to get back up within about 24 hours. You want that thing back up at least into the 130s. So as I turn, things I'm going to look for. If I've still got some big clumps, I'm going to try to break those up. I can use the pitchfork, kind of bounce it up and down to break things up. If I have to use my hands to break up some still, say, clumps of manure or something, I'll do that as well. I'm gonna be smelling this pile. Getting right up in there. Now, you're going to want to see if you smell anything nasty, any sort of foul smells, you know what I'm talking about, rotten eggs or vomit or whatever. If you're smelling that stuff, that means your pile's going anaerobic. It's in there without enough oxygen. So a good smelling pile should be, hopefully you know what good compost smells like, a nice earthy smell and nothing too foul. So we're going to be looking for that. And so if we do get some foul smells, we're going to try to figure out, well, I don't know, was it too wet? Was it too compact? And see if we can make some adjustments so that we don't get those anaerobic conditions, those conditions without oxygen in that pile. And then lastly, we'll look for actinobacteria. That's a type of bacteria that also indicates that your pile is going anaerobic, and that is characterized by a bunch of kind of white strands that there's good strands, fungal, and then there's the actinobacteria. Maybe I should try to find a good picture. If we actually do have some, I'll show it to you. If you see, your pile really should be staying a nice brown, eventually getting to a medium brown, dark chocolate kind of color. Not too dark, but a medium dark chocolate. 70% cocoa is what Dr. Elaine says. You want it to be that color. If you're getting some white in there at this stage, it's too early for fungal hyphae to start developing. So if you see white in there, it's going to be the actinobacteria. And again, that's going to be a sign that we're starting to head into anaerobic conditions. I was talking about the actinobacteria. Maybe you can see some of that white stuff. That is what that is. Piece over here maybe. So it's not that bad that I'm worried about it. I've seen pictures where it gets much worse. So I think once we turn this pile, we get it aerated again, I think things are going to be fine. And once we get everything assembled, the tarp's going to go back on top. This time I'm going to put some stakes, like tent stakes in the top, because what I found, I didn't do that the first time. We had heavy rains one night, And I had 5 gallons of water sitting on top of my compost. Luckily the tarp, it didn't fail. One of the sides started to cave in a little, but I didn't get a bunch of extra water in there, and I was able to kind of bail it off. But the right thing to do is put those tent stakes in so that the water, it doesn't build up like that. So just wanted to show you here, I've got my tent stakes on top, and just got to put the cover on and put a few bungees to tie it down, and we'll be all set. Looks like I'm losing my voice. I think I need a break, a drink of water. A lot of work, but you know my philosophy. This is why I'm doing a retirement farm. The hard work is good for you. Keeps you busy, keeps you fit, keeps you young, hopefully keeps you healthy enough as you get older. So my motto is don't be afraid of a little hard work. It's good for you. And then once that's all done, we've got it rebuilt and tarp's back on, then the time and temperature clock starts ticking again. As I said, hopefully within 24 hours we're back up to above 130, and then we're just trying to decide how hot does it get, and at what point are we turning it next. So at the end of the video, I'll show you my spreadsheet tracking the time and temperature over the course of the several days, close to 5 days, I guess. So doesn't take too long. Hopefully we'll be turning this pile again in another 5 days, and then you're just waiting for the thing to come back down to ambient temperatures, and it's ready to go.